All right, welcome back to Mind and Magic. Today we're going to talk a little bit about lust for results and how it is a roadblock to successful magic. Now, we've talked about it before on this channel. It's one of the laws of magic, the law of least expectancy, that states that magic only manifests when you least expect it, meaning that you have to get your mind off of it in order for it to manifest. If you're always thinking about it, then your subconscious isn't working on it, and there's probably some lust for results going on. This is by far the number one mistake that most beginners in magic make. They've performed the magic, and now they're just waiting around for it to manifest into results. They're waiting for the magic to happen. But if you do that, then the results that you want out of the magic won't happen. And it's a real issue for some people. It's one of the hardest things to get over when you are new to magic, because most people get into magic to acquire something, to gain something. They're thinking about the end result, because why else would they have gone through all that trouble? I had one guy write to me wanting to know of love spells to get a particular person. He already had the Spells of Love and Loss course, but nothing was working for him. And I did my best to explain to this individual that it's not the magic that isn't working. It's the lust for results that's preventing it from working. And this is almost always the case when it comes to love spells for specific individuals especially. And this is why love spells in particular are some of the most difficult magic to do, especially for specific people in mind. Because in order for you to lose your lust for results, to get the magic to work, you have to lose your lust for that person. And in order to lose your lust for that person, you have to stop thinking about that person, which is the entire reason that they're doing the love spell to begin with, because they're obsessed, meaning they cannot stop thinking about that person. An obsession is the inability to remove something from your mind. You are under their spell, not the other way around. And you cannot place them under your spell until you are free from their spell on you. Does that make sense? See, it's as if magic allows for us to have our desires, but it's only after we've proven that we're not attached to those desires. We have to show that we do have the ability to let go, that we're not attached to the outcome or the result. And then and only then is it granted to us. Sometimes we have to reframe things in order to understand them. And that's really a good way of looking at it. Like that you have to prove that you're worthy enough by not focusing so much on it. But, as it so happens, this individual was also asking about using blood in the love spell because he wanted to amplify the magic. Blood doesn't amplify magic. Blood is a binding agent because it has your DNA in it. It's linked to you and is not recommended in most circumstances, especially love spells. And it should be treated with the seriousness and permanency of marriage. Because when you put somebody under your will, such in the case of a love spell, there's a part of them that knows they're under your will and is fighting to get free. So you may get what you want in the short term, but in the long term, you create a relationship from hell. And they act out. You often have fights. And you have this person now that you're starting to not be able to stand, but yet you cannot get away from them now because you used blood as a binding agent. Sucks to be you, but you made your own bed in this case, and now you're going to have to lie in it for the duration. If you want to amplify the magic, then you should be using dragon's blood, which is a resin in your magical operations, not your own real blood, which is simply something that identifies you and links you to the magic. And I tell people this all the time and in my program, advising them not to do it, but, the heart wants what the heart wants, and they ignore it and they get themselves into trouble. And that's true of a lot of the problems that arrive in magic, is people just not listening to good advice from experienced practitioners. Like, if you're just going to do what you're going to do anyway, then why did you even ask for the advice? That these people are more interested in confirmation and validation than actually getting the results. I really don't advise doing love spells for specific people, for these reasons, but I also understand that people are going to do them anyway, so why not do them the right way? And adding blood to your love spell is a huge no-no. That is like burning your bridge of any retreat possible. And you need a way out if things go sour and bad, which they almost always do when you put someone under your will. Now, casting for somebody you haven't met yet, with the qualities of the person that you are infatuated with, that's a completely different matter, because you're not placing any specific person under your will. You are putting in a request to attract somebody with the qualities that you value, and letting the subconscious and the divine choose who is best suited for you with those parameters. If you're going to do love spells, that is what I advise doing. I just want to clear that up. And I go over all of this in Spells of Love and Loss and the Fire and Water program for the blood magic portion, both of which could have serious consequences if you fail to heed the warnings. Now, luckily for most who don't heed the warnings, the magic never materializes because they can't get past the lust for results. But that's not good either for them or for me, because they're still obsessed, and then they think it's my magic that's not working for them, when it's really the fact that they couldn't let go. That's why it's one of the laws of magic. You have to adhere to it in order for magic to work. And that's kind of what this guy was doing. He's saying the magic wasn't working for him. The magic in my program, it wasn't helping to win this person over. Is there any other magic or spells that I know of that will work in his case? Almost in desperation, really. And unfortunately, that's how people think about it. It's not that they were doing anything wrong. It must be the magic. But they're not following the laws of magic. So it doesn't work. So they blame the magic. And that's when most beginners and novices give up, because it's not working for the one thing that they wanted it to work for. So to be clear, it's not the magic. It's the obsession. You have to rid yourself of that first, and then the magic can take hold. It's almost like this really cruel but ingenious system of not allowing those who are obsessed with others the ability to put them under their will. Because when you think about it, if they had that ability, then practically everyone will have put someone under their will at some point. Everything would be a mess, and whose relationships would even be real. So you have to prove that you can let go, that you're not attached to the outcome or this person, before it allows the magic to take hold. It's pretty ingenious, really, because it's so difficult to do. The reason someone is casting the magic in the first place is because they're obsessed with this person. Now, how does one get over an obsession? Well, that may be a topic for another time. But in a nutshell, you're going to have to consider other options than the only one that you've been considering. It's really the only way to do it. The obsession is, in fact, almost quite like a thought form, a program that just keeps running over and over and over again. It's not by conscious choice. It's just that you can't get your mind off of someone, which can often be involuntary. So in order to combat that, you have to introduce something else to consider, something else to think about other than what the mind is currently obsessed over, until it isn't. And there are other things that you can employ as well. However, as I said, that's a topic for another day. All the programs mentioned in this video will be 25% off. Laws of Magic, Spells of Love and Loss, and Fire and Water for a limited time over at mindandmagic.com. I'm Frater Xavier, and I'll see you next time. Take care.